EnergyPathways listed on AIM last December. Its business proposition is its mesh infrastructure project. That's the acronym for Marram Energy Storage Hub, which is a large-scale natural gas and green hydrogen storage facility which has the potential to offer energy security to the UK. I'm delighted to be joined by the Chief Executive, Ben Clube. So Ben, describe the mesh project and talk to us about the problem that it solves.
Hello, good to be here. Yeah, so the Mesh Energy Storage project is all about providing um, energy security for the UK and supporting the UK towards its transition to net zero. And it is a large-scale energy storage facility capable of storing both natural gas and green hydrogen, and both of those are going to be key storage enablers for the UK to meet its energy transition goals.
Okay, but it doesn't exist yet. So to make this a reality, you're forming a stakeholder partner group for the project comprising several global leading tier one engineering and energy companies. How are discussions progressing?
Yeah, they're progressing really well. So we're moving towards the end of the pre-feed stage of this project, which we hope to end at the end of this calendar year. And then we move into feed activities to reach a targeted FID for the project at the end of 2025. And we'll be onboarding our tier one stakeholder partner companies as we move through that pre-feed, end of pre-feed, and moving into feed. And so we'll be looking forward to making some announcements in relation to those relationships in the coming weeks and months.
So for the uninitiated, what does feed mean? What are you talking about when you talk about feed? Because people might be thinking, oh, livestock feed, but that's not what you mean.
No, feed in a project sense is it's all around doing the engineering design work for the development project and working through that at a further level of detail, such that we get to a final investment decision at the end of 25 with a well-defined from an engineering and a commercial and cost perspective, a well-defined project definition, so we can move into the execute development phase of the project.
So why is Energy Pathways focused specifically on the Irish Sea?
So the Irish Sea is a unique location in the energy transition space, in our view, and that's due to a number of factors. Firstly, the geostorage reservoirs that are in this area, including the Marram gas field that we are developing. Um, they are high quality for providing large scale storage solutions. Secondly, this area is a major wind farm area of the UK. It's got 7 to 8 gigawatts of planned and existing generating capacity, and that's really right next door to our mesh project. And then furthermore, it also has late life gas infrastructure, which enables energy to be brought to the market. And this is all right next to UK's northwest of England, so high population centre, high industrial activity area, so basically a high demand energy area of the UK. And as you're probably already aware, this is acknowledged by the UK government policy as well, and you've seen recent announcements about the the next phase of development of carbon capture and storage, which is also in this area. And all of these are elements to be connected, joining the dots to ensure a secure and decarbonised energy supply into the UK. And that's really what we're about here. That's what Energy Pathways is doing. It's joining all these dots to harness all this energy supply and provide a reliable and decarbonised energy supply to the UK.
So the idea is to develop infrastructure type annuity revenue. So what does that mean, and does anyone else offer it?
Well, what we mean there is that we're developing an energy infrastructure asset. So this energy storage has a long life to it. We estimate it's got a 20 to 25 year asset life, and that generates yields or returns for investors over that time frame. And so we think that investment or return profile would appeal to investors let's say, comfortable with an infrastructure type return profile, and that generates what we think is actually high value returns. So high value over long periods is what we think is going to be attractive to investors.
Does anybody else offer what you are going to be offering? Who's the competition?
Look, I think we've got a fairly unique strategy because when we set up the company at the IPO, we set it up as an energy transition company, and we saw the opportunity in the energy transition space as being one of developing integrated energy solutions, and that's indeed what we're doing. So we're looking to not just develop the geo storage reservoirs here, but we're looking to connect it to the features that I've already described of the region. So we're looking to connect it to the wind farms of the region to provide the power for powering the facilities, as well as supporting the generation of production of green hydrogen. We're utilising the late life infrastructure of the region to bring product to market in a cost-effective and fairly prompt manner. And so that's what we see as the strategy that we're pursuing. And yeah, look, and I think it's a fairly unique one.
So what about development finance, Ben? The most recent news is the £5.1 million loan facility with Global Green Asset Financing. Is this relatively straightforward, because the RNS says that Global Green Asset Financing needs to raise further capital?
Yeah, so what we think we're doing here is, in terms of developing an energy transition project, is that we think it appeals to uh, green or clean energy, clean tech type capital. And this initial facility that we have agreed with Global Green Asset Finance is a reflection of that. And so it is a new fund. It is securitizing that fund as we speak, going through that process. And it has a suite of assets like ours, which are, call it, in the green energy or clean tech space, that underpin that securitization. And so we think we're in appealing to capital in the market that is looking for clean tech type solutions. Going forward, in terms of development capital for the project, yeah, well, look, we've had a lot of interest from that clean tech, green energy type investment capital, and so we see avenues for funding for the overall development. We think it can probably be fairly highly geared, given its nature as an infrastructure play, and so I guess we're seeing a lot of interest in financing for that development, and we've already received some offers.
So the Labour government, though, is still finding its way. Do you think they have a proactive energy policy that is favourable to your offering and they could possibly be a funding partner in terms of grants or loans?
Yes, I mean as you say, the new government's energy policy is evolving, but many of those signals were out there before the change in administration, and to a degree, many of those themes were being pursued by the previous administration as well. What's important to note here in the UK is a key pillar of the energy transition is a massive expansion of renewable wind generating capacity. Currently, UK wind generating capacity is circa 30 gigawatts. And the new government is seeking to increase that threefold to 90 gigawatts, and that has a lot of repercussions in the UK energy space. In that a lot of that new generating capacity is going to struggle to get into the market. Noting that 30 gigawatts is effectively equivalent to current electricity demand in the UK. So when the wind's blowing, it is close to or meeting demand levels. And so that threefold expansion it needs storage solutions, basically to ensure it is not wasted. And then also with that, the UK is also going through a transition with respect to its dominant fuel supply, which is natural gas, and by 2030, the UK with declining production from the North Sea, the UK is going to be 80% imports, and that's going to put some real pressure on the supply chain for energy security. And with the wind penetration coming in, such that gas storage solutions are increasingly going to be needed. So we see a huge growth market here for energy storage solutions as the UK government, in effect, continues to prosecute the energy transition plan, which is underpinned by a massive increase in renewable wind energy.
Just a couple more questions, if I may, Ben. And obviously, this is a grand project, it's huge. What experience does management have in terms of projects of this scale or the technology that's required?
Well, there's a couple of pieces to that question. Firstly, we've developed a very strong team who've got many years of experience across development of offshore facilities and strong experience across the UK gas sector and energy sector, and basically a team very comfortable with developing and delivering multi-billion-dollar energy and gas projects. So, however, these sorts of projects they always require, in my mind, partnership arrangements. That's why we're developing our partnership group with tier one companies who complement the expertise of the team and enable as you pointed out, this is going to be a large scale energy storage project for the UK, and that they're all bringing individual capability to this project so we can do what we want to do.
So the final investment decision is hopefully in 12 months' time. Then what does the business plan look like?
Yeah, so by the end of 2025, we are targeting to reach a final investment decision. We then proceed with the execution phase of the project that we estimate is a 2-year phase, which then would get us into first revenues from the mesh project at the end of 2027. As I mentioned before, we then see this as being a 20 to 25 year asset life infrastructure project, and generating high rates of return for investors.
And will that be the first of many?
Yeah, there's There's a lot of growth potential that we've identified. So, look in brief, there's other high quality geostorage reservoirs in this region that can readily complement the mesh project. So we think we can increase of the mesh project its storage capacity by in the order of threefold, and if you consider that the UK is starting from a underground gas storage capacity being effectively the lowest or one of the lowest in Europe and of developed countries, um, with countries such as Germany and France and Italy and the Netherlands having storage capacities up to 10 times what the UK has. We see a lot of scope for growth and there's a lot of opportunity in this region. So um, we'll be looking to try and build on the position we've already got.
Tremendous. Ben Clube, Chief Executive of EnergyPathways, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.